Murph. Oh, hello. I'll be seeing you in a few days, okay? Now you be a good dog. It's okay, Murph. I'll be back soon, mate. No, he's not bothered anymore. I'm off. It's time to go to the Masters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rolling Finch Friday. So I'm driving down to London. I'm flying from Heathrow tomorrow. So I'm going to drive down there. I'm going to do Finch Friday as I go. Just explain maybe a little bit more about what we're doing in Augusta. I'm so excited. Honestly, I'm so excited. It's somewhere I've wanted to go for so long, and to finally get that opportunity, I'm absolutely buzzing. So let's head off. Got a few supplies to pick up en route, and then yeah, down to London, and we'll get answering your questions. Traffic has cleared slightly at the first services now, so let's get the first question up, shall we? Hope that nice M6 noise in the background is suiting you well, guys. In fact, that is incredibly loud. I'm gonna go get a coffee instead. So first question in the beautiful surroundings of, where am I? Kiel Services. Question from Christo Matthews. How difficult is it to realistically turn pro, and what level of handicap would you expect to have? So in the UK you only have to be a 4 to turn pro, and that will enable you to play in professional competitions. It'll enable you to undertake the PGA qualification as well. So when I turned pro I was off 3, I think, but the last year that I was an amateur I think I only played in 2 comps, and that was literally because I'd got my handicap to the level where it needed to be for me to complete the PGA program. So that's all that I was bothered about. So actually getting down to being a single figure 4 handicap, it's not easy by any means, you know, anyone who's played golf knows that, but it's not the most difficult thing in the world. Now, if you're thinking about becoming an actual professional player, so out there on tour, you know, competing against the big boys, then handicap roughly now, it can be so hard to tell because there's a lot of players who can turn pro off scratch and go on to be very good players. Poulter is the classic example of someone who turned off 4 and then obviously got on to do amazing things. So it's not impossible, but so many of the good players now are coming through the amateur system and they're turning pro off +4, +5 regularly now. So to get down to that type of level, that takes a different mindset and a different dedication altogether. So to turn pro is tricky but not overly difficult if you have some talent, but to make it out there on tour, then that's, yeah, very, very different. Do not let your dog poo here at Norton Keynes. A legacy to recognise the life-saving work of flight paramedics, doctors and pilots. And that is a worthwhile sculpture. So this is a good question. Jack O'Toole in the score. What should you do if you can't hit the ball like you usually do at a fitting through pressure? And this isn't just about it's going to start raining. I'm going to go back to the car. You've been lovely, Memorial. And this is something that I've gone through before. Now, I consider myself a relatively consistent hitter of the golf ball, and that's just come from years of practice and all the rest of it, but by no means am I an absolute robot when it comes to hitting golf balls. And I've had fittings before where I've just not hit the ball well. I've hit it poorly, and it's difficult to get good readings off certainly a launch monitor like a quad if you are hitting it from across the face. The only thing that can come from that, one of the positives that can come from that, is if you are hitting it heel, you are hitting it toe, bottom, top, whatever it may be, if we use drivers as an example, using a launch monitor like the quad, you can see where it hits and you can actually assess what the forgiveness of that club is. But the fact is, you don't want to be buying clubs if it is just based on how poorly you're going to strike them. But one thing you do have to do before you get fitted, this goes without saying, is actually develop a technique which is good enough to make that fitting session worthwhile. So if you're a rank beginner and you want to understand what the gapping is of your clubs or what the optimum spin that you need for your driver is, that's not going to happen because you've just not got used to hitting the center of that club face. However, if you are a competent player, you do get fitted and you just have a bad day, it might be a little bit of, it might just take a little bit of courage to actually say, you know what, I'm not going to get clubs this day. I am going to sacrifice a little bit more time, come back on another day when I am hitting it successfully. Bite the bullet, take your time and get another fitting. Okay, onward onward we go. Okay, I'm at a services that has a riverside walk. I'm not entirely sure what time this video's going to be up, guys, because I'm still like well over an hour away. It's been driving for like 5 hours now. I'm still not even at London. Bloody traffic. This question, some Gin Sync, I think I just saw on my phone on Instagram, about how I can develop such a smooth swing. Now his precise words were, how can I develop a smooth swing like yours, which I'm very flattered about. It's a little bit windy, so I'm going to jump back in the car, I'm afraid. A little bit dark, a little bit grim again outside. I took this question for a couple of reasons. One, it makes me feel, you know, nice and warm and bubbly inside. Everyone likes a nice compliment. But also, just to maybe have a little bit of a discussion and comment in the box below here about the best way to actually learn new techniques, because I didn't used to have what I would call a naturally smooth swing. You know, I used to try and hit it as hard as I could, like most junior golfers, to be honest. But then I started to develop my technique, not so much through formal coaching, although I did have some of that, but by actually watching players that I admired. Now, the players that I admired the most were Ernie Els, Retief Goosen, Colin Montgomery, and these type of players. They were incredibly smooth swinging. Then I started to obviously like Tiger Woods, and at his best, you know, the way he swung, there was a lovely tempo to it. So I developed quite early this rain. Oh, it's gorgeous. So I developed pretty early a feeling that I wanted to swing in that smooth manner. Now, what I was doing inadvertently was actually just getting my sequencing right, because certainly from watching Monty and trying to emulate that type of technique, which is just ridiculously smooth and slow, what I saw was how heavily that he led with his hips coming into impact. So it wasn't a technical thought at the time, you know, I was only a kid, but it wasn't me thinking, oh, I need to start leading with my lower half and using my left hip and rotating and all the rest of it. It was just simply get the upper half lagging behind the lower half, because that seems to be what Monty does. And through that, that's how I developed what I would class now as my relatively smooth tempo. But what I'd like you guys to comment below is, how do you think you best learn? Is it by watching and trying to repeat and copy, or is it by getting the information and trying to put that into your game? Because certainly through kind of research and lessons that I've done, copying is one of many different factors that you can use, and one of many different variations on coaching that you can use with people to try and get the desired result. So I'd like to know what you think. Right, let's carry on. Well, that was a very, very fun 7-hour drive. Punctuated with admittedly 4 service station stops, but oh my god, it's just gone past 7 o'clock now. I'm going to get these 2 more questions answered from this spot. Forgive me if I don't move around too much. It's taking it out of me. But my excitement is still here. That is the main point. My excitement is still here from the trip. This light is odd. So 2 questions in a row here. Hamza _007_. For a junior golfer aspiring to become one of the best, what do you think they need to achieve their goals? And second of all, Calamity _golf. For a junior golfer wanting to do really well and aspiring to be pro, what tips would you give for trying to achieve your goals? Literally one question after the other. So junior golfers, and there are a lot watching. Listen, if you want to make it as a pro, you've got to start early. Well, you don't have to start early, but it's a massive advantage if you start early. Get exposed to good coaching early on, and then just understand that you have to work incredibly hard if you want to be one of the best players in the world, or even if you want to make it on the lower echelons of the tour. You know, you have to work incredibly hard. Now that means switching off your Xbox, switching off your PlayStation, not watching YouTube videos, as much as it kills me to say, apart from in the evenings. In fact, just leave 10 minutes aside every night to watch these videos, you'll be absolutely fine. But those guidelines, so good coaching at an early age, working your absolute nuts off, but one of the most important things to this is enjoying the game for what it is, enjoying the frustrations, enjoying the challenges that it's going to give you. Because if you're not enjoying golf, and you're only trying to make it as a pro because of the financial rewards at the other end of it, which there are a lot if you are one of the best players in the world, then you won't truly achieve your potential. You know, you've got to enjoy what you're doing. So those are my kind of pillars. You know, with junior coaching and with general coaching, I could go into this as incredibly deeply, but try and use those as your building blocks. But if you want me to do more of a detailed video on this, then by all means I will do. Right guys, thank you so much for watching. Pick the camera up, just have a wander to the window here. That's much better lighting, should have done it that way. Hotel room tour, it's done. And I'm gonna get this uploaded as quickly as possible. Tomorrow, I'm flying to the Masters. Cannot wait, and boy, I'm so excited. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Join me on my journey. Now the way to do that, probably the best way, is gonna be obviously YouTube, but Instagram, Twitter, I'm gonna be pretty heavy on those as well over the next few days. Those links are in the description below, so go follow me on those platforms if you haven't already. I'm gonna get this edited, go downstairs, meet with the guys if they're here, with the traffic coming down. I'm not sure if they will be, but we'll see. So, see you soon guys. See you in Augusta.